watching the Kate Fox Show. I'm Kate Fox, and I am here today with Chuck Lott. And Chuck, we've just been doing some catching up, and I lost track of how far you've come since I first met you. It's been several years, actually.
It has been several years.
It has.
That's, yeah.
And now you are an announcer, an MC. Do you do voiceovers anymore?
I do voiceovers. I'm actually, it's on my to-do list for 2020. I'm going to make some calls to a few places. I'll leave it at that. A few places to try to see what's available out there.
Wow. Well, and
try to put the voice to use.
Well, you should. You should. And now we were just talking about what you did in college. You were a college athlete, and that sort of is the path you followed in a roundabout way.
It is. It is. I was a two-sport athlete in college. I ran track and I did cheerleading, and along the way, it just allowed me to pick up so many different things. I didn't run track in high school. I didn't do cheerleading in high school. And with that, I was also in theater. I was also in charge of one of the mentoring programs on campus. So I did a little bit of everything in undergrad. And yeah, it set the foundation for everything that has happened since then.
And you didn't do it in high school, you just said.
No, I played basketball in high school.
You stopped me as soon as you said that. I was listening to you, but because usually, it's, I did it in middle school, junior, high school, whatever, but you sort of jumped the line.
So with track, I was a jumper. I was, I guess I was an accomplished jumper. Before I got to college, people heard about my jumping ability, and the track coach needed triple jumpers and long jumpers. So they went out and recruited me on campus to get me on the team. And thankfully I broke the record in college and went to nationals and all that stuff. And it made a man out of me. It really turned me into the athlete that I became, and the athlete that I still am today. I still go to the track and work out. That's part of my workout.
Wow.
And with cheerleading, I wanted an off-season workout because I stopped playing ball, so I needed an off-season workout. And the athletic trainer for basketball and track my freshman year was the cheerleading coach. So we had a really good relationship, and she was like, "Hey, I took over the cheer team, but I've never been a part of a team without guys." And we were at a small school. I was like, I'm not really doing anything on Saturday, so why not? And she was like, well, if I get you on the team, I'll probably get some more guys. And by my senior year, we had 6 guys on the team.
Wow.
But I was also the coach my senior year too. So it was an interesting ride. It really was. And then cheerleading took me for the next 15 years of my life, all the way to New York. I don't know. I don't ask questions.
This doesn't happen a lot.
I don't ask
quite
questions.
to this extent, because I didn't expect that coming at all.
Yeah.
Wow.
No one does. I don't know. Again, I don't ask questions. It's my thing with life is, my parents were always there. They always supported everything that I did. I don't think we ever really wanted for much growing up. We always had that support. So I just did what I felt like I wanted to do. And, as long as I was having a good time, and as long as I, worked hard and tried to excel at whatever I was doing, I just did it. So I just picked up stuff all the time.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's a great philosophy.
It's great, but at the same time, what tends to happen is you get kind of good at a lot of things, and the things that you're really, really good at, I wouldn't say they get overshadowed, but it makes it tough to really zero in on something.
Yes.
Because I can do a little bit of everything, right? But if you ask me like, oh, well, what's the one thing you want to do? Or what's the one thing you can do? Other than telling you that I want to succeed Pat Sajak hosting the Wheel of Fortune, I couldn't tell you. Because I could pop into anything. Yes, that's a goal.
Here's like the mixed party bag, and it's like, let me reach in and see what else I can find, because Yeah, okay, so we're gonna put Pat Sajak on the back burner for a minute.
Cool.
Okay, so we did college, we had basketball in high school, then we did track and cheerleading, and then we did cheerleading for a while, and then when did you start to want to work with your voice? Or with, being a public figure, if you will. Did you fall into it?
Well, I mean, the public figure piece, I wasn't even thinking that large, because all of this happened in the Midwest. And in the Midwest, what I do, the level that I do it at, I didn't think it was possible back in the Midwest.
Okay.
So it all happened when I first started working with this big cheer company, Varsity Spirit Brands. Thanks, everybody. There was a guy, his name was Carl Olson. He was the man. He's the person I modeled my show after, if you will. And he hosted all of the cheer competitions that I worked when I first started. I think it was my first 2 years with the company. And then he got a promotion. The company started to expand globally. He got a promotion. He couldn't do the competitions anymore. And then we got a new state director. She was like, hey, Carl is out. I need an announcer. And I was like, hey, there we go. So I got my suit ready, and I started announcing competitions at 10 years, 11, 2009. And I did our little Midwest circuit, and then I met another brand manager. So he started to take me outside of the Midwest.
Okay.
And then eventually I moved here. Once I got here and I did a few competitions here, that's when I got the idea. It's like, oh, I could probably do something with this. And so then I started to try to do something with it.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
So, okay, so now when did you stop doing the cheerleading circuit?
I want to say 2014-ish.
Okay.
2013. 2013 was my last year doing competitions.
And you stopped because you were going to do
basketball games with St. John's. So what initially happened was I moved out to New York to work with the St. John's cheer team.
Okay.
And that was the year Sandy hit. We had a lot of travel issues, whatever. So I couldn't continue working with the team as much as I was, but I was still working with them. And so I brought them to a few competitions that I was hosting. And the coach was like, oh, you're pretty good at this. You should come do our games. I was like, all right, whatever. And she got me an audition. She got me an empty arena audition at St. John's. And that was it. The summer of 2013 was when all of this all of this switched. We've got a guest.
I see we have a guest.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's
hey,
my
buddy.
son. He's going to sit quietly. The summer of 2013 was when everything started, and that year, and that was also the year I started to PA for sporting events as well. The women's soccer team and the women's volleyball team needed PAs that year, and I was on the roster. They called me, and I was like, I know nothing about soccer or volleyball, but you need a voice, I'm gonna go do it. So, when all that started, I just couldn't do the competitions anymore. At least not as much as I was doing.
Okay.
I had to scale back some, and it's just been, since the fall of 2013, just kind of putting all the pieces together, making everything work. And then in the winter of 2015, we really had to put some pieces together and make everything work.
And that's when you got your co-host?
Yeah, that's when I got my co-host. And, his first game was at 1 month old at the Garden. His first game was at the Garden.
At the Garden, at 1 month old.
I know, right? Well, and it's funny because, you see the babies with the headphones, right? Mm-hmm. He did not want them at all. We walked into the Garden, and he looked up and he saw the lights, he saw the ceiling, and he pulled the headphones off, and it didn't bother him. So we never, ever. And 1 month, and he's been going since then. I think in the first game that him and I did by ourselves was, what was he, 2 months old? Two or 3 months old? It was January of 2016 was the first game that we did. It was just me and him. So I'd pass him off and I'd go to the court and then come back and get him and, feed him before I left to drive home in the car. And,
Wow.
So we worked out a little system.
Speaking of passing off, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and talk about, I don't know, the garden.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
Oh my goodness, that is so good. Chuck Lott, Kate Fox Show. Keep watching.
We're back, and before we took a break, we were talking about how this young man first joined you at 1 month old at Madison Square Garden.
The world's most famous arena.
Can you say that again?
Oh man, that is still that's still surreal to me. You know, being able to call the Garden my office.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm just a kid from Flint, Michigan, and I grew up a ball player, and the Garden is the mecca. You know, there's so many iconic sports moments continue to happen in the Garden, and you know, the fact that I get to go there and work. Yeah, even what is this, season 5? I mean, season 7 in the Garden, but as an employee of the Garden, being the in-arena host at the Garden. I think this is season 4 or 5, and it's still unbelievable.
And
it really is.
What do you host at the Garden?
College basketball. So, you know, the tournaments that come in, Jimmy V, some of the ESPN classics, the Big East tournament. This will be my 4th season hosting the Big East tournament, and then all of St. John's games.
That's well, St. John. Now, St. John's. He's got a friend at St. John's, right?
Johnny Thunderbird. What's up, John? His best friend. Johnny has been there since his first game. There's actually a picture of them two at the first game. And, I mean, he's not afraid of mascots at all. He runs after him every time he sees him. That's what makes him smile. If he shows up to a game tired, that's the only thing that makes him smile.
That's great.
Yeah. It's awesome. It's really cool to see, like, that's his best friend. It really is.
And how many kids can say that? You know, how many kids can have a best friend like that?
Most kids are scared of mascots. Like, they run from mascots,
and
he runs to them. Any costume character. I've been to Westchester Knicks. Hudson is the mascot there. He loves Hudson. We did some games at Iona. There's a Gale. He loves the Gale. I mean, he just hasn't seen Mr. and Mrs. Met yet, but I'm sure he'll go after them too.
Okay. Mr. and Mrs. Met.
Citi Field.
At Citi Field.
Mm-hmm.
So you're working at Citi Field now?
Well, I've been working there. I do like special events there when they call me, because they have a hospitality branch where they do special events at the park when the team's gone. And some events they need an MC for, so they call me in if they need me.
Wow.
So I've done a handful of events with Mr. and Mrs. Met, and but he doesn't really come to those. Those are longer. There's a lot more moving parts there, so you know, I keep him home for that.
Okay, well, he's allowed to stay home once in a while.
Once in a while.
Once in a while. And it is once in a while.
Yeah.
You pack him up, you take him where you go.
Man, yeah, we try. I mean, we were on the plane a lot this summer, so we really packed up, and you know, this is what it was.
Is he a good traveler?
He's a good traveler. Yeah, he's good. He's good. He hops up on my shoulders, and we go. I have my carry-on, and you know, his clothes are small. I pack light, so it's one bag, my announcing backpack, and his toy backpack, because I got to bring toys.
Yes, you do.
And you know, I strap everything together, so this is actually pretty smooth.
That's very good.
Yeah.
Very good. And now you were traveling this summer for what?
The Premiere Lacrosse League.
The Premiere Lacrosse League.
What's up, guys? The sport of the future. That, you know, that's we've been coining that, and man, lacrosse has really changed my life and my perspective on this thing that I'm doing in life. I'm the voice of the league, so I serve as the PA announcer for all the games, and I also serve as the MC for our pre-game festival, I guess pre-weekend festival. We call it the Premiere Zone. Okay. It's just like a big tailgate. We have all of our sponsors there. There's food, and we have games and all kind of stuff. And so I do I DJ as well as make announcements and interact with the fans, and it's a big party before we start the games that weekend.
Okay.
And it is, the lacrosse fans are amazing. The league, our staff, the family, it is, I mean, I don't know if I'm going to get emotional talking about the league, but it really, the league means a lot to me. And it was the first year, they brought me in. I had no idea what was going on. And it was the first year, so a lot of us really didn't know what was going to happen.
Okay.
But throughout the course of the season, I mean, you could just see this thing just gaining. Okay. You could see this thing. I know, puppy.
This is Star Wars.
It's Star Wars.
Okay, quiet. You could see this thing gaining momentum week after week, and now we're in the off season. We just we announced that we were expanding. We were adding an additional team for season 2.
Okay.
We just announced that team name, Water Dogs. What's up? And man, I cannot wait until June to get back on the road with the league. Oh my gosh, I can't.
And you're there at the beginning too.
Yeah.
So as it grows, you get to sort of ride that wave.
Absolutely.
Along with everyone else.
Absolutely. It's a beautiful thing to see. It really is. And and it kills me to be on the sideline right now because I'm not full time, but I'm watching every move, and I'm just like, is it June yet? I don't like to just sit here on Long Island when there's so much going on. But it's amazing. I mean, Paul Rabel, Mike Rabel, our founders, they are working tirelessly with our team, both here in New York and out in El Segundo. That's main HQ.
Okay.
And they're just, they're killing it. They're, yeah.
So you're pleased.
Very, very. I wear PLL gear everywhere I go here. I either wear my hat or a shirt almost every day. So, and he's got a sweatshirt that he has to grow into. So, and I've got 5 sticks in the trunk, so we go play.
Oh.
So yeah, I'm turning into a lacrosse guy, like full on.
And when's the first time you picked up a stick?
Me?
Yep.
Last summer when I was on tour. I didn't know anything about the sport until recently, and through the Garden, really through City Field and the Garden, I met Paul Rabel, our founder. I started to read about him, learn about what he was doing, but I didn't know anything about the league at the time. I saw he was coming to the Garden in December of 2018. And I hit him up and said, hey man, I hope to see you tomorrow at the game. And he's like, yeah, we got something to talk about now. And there's the league. And I was like, what in the world? How do you just start a professional league in 2018-19? Like, who does that? So, I'm reading all these news articles and stuff, and all the press, and I just told Paul that, I want to be involved in some way, shape, or form. I don't really care how we do it. I want to be a part of it. And, we initially started off as me just being the MC for the Premiere Zone. And then that evolved into PA in the games and being the voice of the league. And, I started to learn about the sport. I come home every week from the tour, and I sit here and watch games, watch film like I was playing, to learn more about the game, and then I hop on the plane and do it again next week.
Wow. Now, for people, and I should have done this sooner, for people who don't know what a PA is.
Public address announcer.
Sorry, guys.
The voice, and it's funny because, when I tell people what I do, they're like, oh, I'm going to see you on TV. I'm like, not yet. Hopefully one day. So a PA announcer is the voice that you hear in the arena. That's the one. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to this arena on this day, and then what I do at the Garden and for St. John's, I'm the in-arena host. So when the game goes to timeout, that's when I step on the court and I do all the contests, all the t-shirt tosses, the giveaways, all that stuff. Yeah. Depending on how the script goes, but yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And now, how much of it is scripted then? Do they just say, oh, this happens, this happens, this happens?
Oh, no. Live event production is scripted to the second.
Okay.
But I've been doing it for so long, I get my script either the day before or the day of, or when I show up sometimes. And, I take my talking points, I rehearse it, and I put Chuck into the script.
Okay.
You can't, and that's one of the things that I tell people who reach out to me for advice and what we do. You can't be someone else. You can't be me. You look at this script, well, you might not talk like that. And if you try to read this script, that's why writers are so good, because the writer has to know the talent. So you can write like the talent talks.
That's fair.
So when I get a script, St. John's, I've been doing that, from day one. So that's kind of how I talk.
Okay.
So that's fine. But any other place that I go, if I get a script, I'll take my talking points and then, put a little twist on it and make it comfortable. You got to make it comfortable.
Yes, you do.
So.
Yes, you do. Wow. Okay. You know what? We're going to take one more break, and then I want to talk about maybe the future.
Okay.
All right. We'll be right back.
Cheerleading, lacrosse, basketball, track. What in the world? You better keep watching. This is some interesting stuff.
Now, you mentioned you want to take over Pat Sajak's job. I'm just jumping right in.
I do. My end goal is to be a game show host. I do what I do for the love of the game. It's all passion. I have so much fun engaging with people, getting a reaction. And it comes from being in the cheerleading industry for so long, being pretty face to face with thousands of people all the time, right. Trying to get a reaction. And now I got a microphone and a camera. It's like, I'm going to get a reaction. So I want to host a game show. That's like my end goal. Well, that and to voice a movie villain. or an animated villain of some sort. I'd love to voice a villain. That'd be so much fun.
You've got your eye on that prize. And so what do you see yourself doing, say, between the PLL and the game show and the villain? What's next for you? Are you just going to sort of ride this wave like you've been, or do you have something you want to do in the middle?
Well, I've actually just acquired a partnership with a branding company that provides promotional merchandise and swag. So,
Okay.
I'll be using all my relationships and contacts to build that. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna ride the wave. Like I said, the PLL changed my life and changed my perspective on this thing that I'm doing in life. Still have the garden, but what I'm doing now is I'm being intentional in trying to find agency representation, because there's a lot out there, and all the stuff that we just talked about, I've done on my own. I have not had an agent. I have not had a manager, no team, no nothing. So,
that's huge.
It's huge, and look, I love every second of it. But there's more out there.
Yes.
And I don't know what's out there, but somebody else knows what's out there. You're probably watching right now. So if you know, you better find me on Instagram. It's Chuck Lott.
I'm sorry, what was that? It's Chuck Lott?
It's Chuck Lott. But yeah, that's the next step. And it's something that I've kind of tiptoed around for a while. And it's mainly due to him. I'm not gonna make the crazy jumps in my career, because I know that's gonna take me away from him right now. And that's my number one role. And then I host. And I've been fortunate enough to be around organizations now that welcome him alongside me.
Which is huge.
So it is huge, and it helps. It helps a ton. So in the meantime, we're going to continue to ride that wave, but he's in school now. So, I can make more jumps, than I felt I could in the past. And some people are like, oh, well, you got to do it. I have to be a father to my son first. And, again, now, he's in school. We've got a pretty good foundation set for him. So now I feel more at ease, trying to take, whatever, bigger gigs or longer gigs or travel gigs, I'm more at ease to do that now. So that's going to be one of the pushes for this year.
Wow.
Outside of the PLL though, my summer weekends are on lock. So if it's a summer weekend, count me out.
Well, I'll tell you what, we are looking forward to seeing where you go next. You know,
too.
I love watching. I mean, we're connected obviously on social media, so I love watching, and I told you my kids do too, but I love watching your adventures with him.
Yeah.
It's been really, really interesting to watch the steps you've been taking in your career as well.
Yeah, the last probably 6 months or so. I mean, again, with the league, it's just opened my eyes to a lot of things, and you know, it's opening new doors. It's having me look at not old opportunities, but opportunities that I've had in the past. You know, contacts that I've been around in the past, just to find other angles and to leverage what I have done and what I am doing. And you know, I didn't do that before. I've always lived in the moment. I'm not on a quest to be rich and famous and all that. Like I said, I like to engage. I like to communicate, mass communicate. You know, so being able to do that at the level that I'm doing it, in the arenas that I'm doing it in, pun intended, it's a lot of fun. And so now, you know, I want to see how much more reach I can get.
Okay. Well, now you gave your Instagram handle. If people want to get a hold of you or check you out, where would they go?
Like in person? No, I mean Instagram is pretty much
Is that
it. You
the
know,
best way?
yeah, I'll post you know, my videos from games that I get footage from. You know, for the league, you know, I'm cutting some goofy video where I'm dancing and getting hype about the weekend starting, because oh my gosh, I get goosebumps thinking about the league. And
Wow.
you know, we had so much fun there. But yeah, Instagram is it, man. You know, you can DM me and get my contact information if you want. There are videos on my YouTube, but all those videos are on Instagram as well. So
Okay. Well, I want to say thank you for sitting down to talk to us.
well, thank you for coming. Thank
It
you.
has been a pleasure, and I am very fond of your sidekick, just so you know. And ladies and gentlemen, check him out, Chuck Lott.
See ya.